Now on Grateful Rescue TV. She's a dog who turns heads. Meet Daisy, a rescue dog with a unique look, and an owner with a wonderful sense of humor. Do you have room in your heart to be a rescue foster parent? Find out how you can get involved. Meet Wish TV anchor and Lifestyle Live host George Mallet and how he found his rescue dog named Spots. And welcome to Grateful Rescue TV. I'm Pamela Terhune, and we're joined by a very special guest today, or two very special guests, George Mallet and Spots.
Yep.
George, tell me about Spots.
Well, Spots has been with me since he was 10 months old. I got him when I was living in Milwaukee after my previous dog, Charlie, passed away. I went a whole week without a dog. And I know a lot of people wait, but and I went to the Wisconsin Humane Society. They put you in a little kind of habitat and you get to meet the dogs, and he just came out and pretty much announced that he was coming home with me. So he's just, he's the most high energy animal I've ever had. And he just put his paws up on my shoulders, and so we've been together ever since.
And he said, take me home.
Yes, he did.
And he runs a 5-minute mile, you say?
He can run sub 5-minute miles, and he can run a lot of them. So when I work this dog out, and I run him every morning, I put him in a harness, I hook him to my bicycle, and he literally tows me like a sled dog.
Oh, my goodness.
It's not a workout for me. I get my exercise later, but for him, it's a good way to start the day. So.
And you affectionately call him Spotopotamus.
The Spotopotamus. His name was Spot at the Wisconsin Humane Society, and when my 4-year-old son at the time, he's 10 now, Colton, met him, Colton said, he's not Spot, he's Spots. So then that took, and that's the neat thing, obviously he's a pit mix, and I feel like these dogs get a bad rap.
Absolutely.
But my understanding is they were actually bred to be family dogs.
Yep.
And this dog bonded immediately with my son.
They call them nanny dogs back in the day.
And and they whenever they get together, my son lives with his mother in Wisconsin still, but whenever Spots and Colton are together, they are just in constant physical contact. They wrap themselves around each other, crawl into bed together, whatever. They're together.
They really are beautiful, beautiful dogs. And what brought you to Indiana? Give us a little history on that.
Well, the woman to whom I'm related by marriage was already here. She was my high school crush, and she'd been here for decades. And we started dating a few years ago. We were doing a long distance thing, and so my goal was to be here, to be with Kathy, and then I got a job at Wish TV, so I got the job of my dreams and the woman of my dreams. And the woman of
your dreams.
So yeah, I'm very blessed. I am so happy to be with Kathy, and I'm so happy that our dogs, the junkyard dog here and her show dog, have become fast pals and formed a pack together. So it's really good.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you for sharing all this. And Spot, you're such a good boy. It's just such a good boy.
He's doing a lot of TV
I
today.
love Spot. Spot looks like Faith. If you know my dog Faith, this could be her twin brother.
And she's a pit mix too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, yeah,
Boxer Bulldog. Yep. And we are so thrilled to have you, and we thank you so much. And thank you, Spots.
Well, the pleasure is mine, and Spots too.
George, we have a huge need for fosters at Grateful Rescue, and lately we've been pulling together some foster parents, and we recently had a nice conversation with a couple of them. Let's take a look.
Fostering is a great way to help pets when shelters are overcrowded and rescues are in need of help. I talked to 2 Grateful Rescue fosters about just that. Becky Snyder and Justice Draper are both longtime fosters to pets in need.
I decided to foster when I got involved with rescue. The first little dog was a medical foster, and at the time the rescue that I was with primarily did just medical fosters. I've had probably at least 20, maybe 25, and I have done for Grateful Rescue, let's see, Alex, Nikki, Jax, and Duncan, so 4 for her.
Since going with Grateful, we've had Yoo-Hoo, Duncan and her kittens, so that was 5. Tiana, Skipper, and we have Benji currently. So we've had 9 through Grateful, 1 through Homer's Helpers. We took in 1 through my work. Oh, Versace. I completely forgot to include him in that because he was a foster fail. He is a Pomeranian mix that came from a puppy mill through Grateful. Pam posted that she needed someone to take a 14-week-old Pomeranian puppy, and Poms are my breed, so I was like, just give him to me. Within about an hour of him getting there, he had a seizure. We had to take him to several neurologist appointments, found out he was born without a portion of his brain. He's epileptic, so he gets Keppra 3 times a day. Because of his conditions, I was concerned that he wouldn't get the proper care that he needed if he went somewhere else, so we kept him.
You may be asking, what is a foster failure?
It means that you just cannot let that dog leave your house. It means that they have just fit in and that they have just settled in and that you just know it's the right place for them to be.
Not all fosters are failures. The end goal is to know that you're leaving a positive mark on that pet so they can move on to their forever home.
It feels really good, knowing that you make a difference for that animal. It's sad to see them go, but if my heart has to break a little bit for them to not have their heart break and for them to be happy and know that they're loved in the meantime instead of being alone and scared in a shelter, then that's what's going to happen.
Each foster animal has their own story to tell and challenges to face. But in Becky's viewpoint, a foster must take their path with them. May it be a short stint in a home or providing hospice.
A lot of older dogs end up in a position of needing a foster or in the shelter because they have, their person has gone into a nursing home or passed, and that may be the only person that they ever knew. I know that was the case with Nikki, and that was the case with Jax, who was another hospice foster that I took for Grateful. Hospice fosters typically are fosters that I would take because they have a medical condition, either that would make them, their life expectancy maybe is diminished, or they have such severe problems that we want to make sure they get the medical treatment that they need, gives them a comfortable, safe, soft place to land.
But for all the pets, fostering will benefit them greatly. For not only them, but for the adopters themselves.
The adopters definitely get a better idea of what they're getting into with an animal than what you do in a shelter setting, because the animal is scared, they want out of that environment. A lot of times they're a lot more worked up, so you really don't get to see their true colors.
If you've considered doing it, try, step out there, try. Ask to speak to people who have done it through Grateful or through other organizations, and take that chance, take that leap of faith, and it will come back, it will reward you many times over.
We're here with Susan Hobbs and her little baby Daisy, and I have to say I'm a big fan of Daisy's, and I have been for a long time.
She's a character.
She is a character. Tell me about Daisy.
Well, I've had Daisy, she's had me for about 7 years now. One afternoon I got a call from Indianapolis Animal Care Services, and they said, we have a Brussels Griffon in the shelter. And I was fostering at that time for a Brussels Griffon group out of Chicago. And I said, oh my, you never see a Brussels in the shelter. So I jumped up from my desk and ran down there. And I went in the office and I said, "Where's the Brussels Griffon?" And they said, and it was Daisy, and I said, "That's not a Brussels Griffon. I'm not sure that's a dog." Because I'd never seen anything quite like her. And with that, they said, "Well, you're going to take her, aren't you?" And I said, "Well, okay." So I did. I took her, fully intending to get her with the Brussels Rescue Group and finding a home for her. But within about 2 days, I realized she had a home. So, yep.
And you did a DNA test on her. Was
We
she
did.
Brussels Griffon?
No, not even close.
Not even close.
No. This, right here, that's a Chihuahua. She's mostly Chihuahua, a little bit of Shih Tzu thrown in, and there's about 20% they couldn't identify. I think it's either dust or pizza crust or something, something like that.
Or maybe some ham?
Oh yeah, she can. She's quite a fan of ham.
She loves her Santa ham.
Her Santa ham, yes. We had ham for Christmas a few years ago, and she just went berserk over ham. So we call it Santa ham.
You like the Santa ham? Yes, I do. Well, I have to say that this is such an honor for me because I have been following Daisy on Facebook. You have a very wonderful, unique knack of humanizing Daisy.
It's easy to channel her. She's incredibly judgmental, usually very grumpy. She complains a lot, and her facial expressions, I've never seen a dog with such incredible facial expressions. I mean, it's pretty easy to decipher what she's saying.
And you're perfect at putting a title with that.
Oh gosh, thanks. Yeah, well, it's all her and very little me. Again, I just channel what she's telling me. So.
And what does Daisy like to do for fun? Does she?
She judges.
She judges. How do you come up with all these little sayings and memes and things like that?
Again, I just kind of channel what she's telling
she
me.
Might be
yeah,
thinking.
Depending on the situation, we're in, and it's pretty easy, really. But like I said, I've never seen an animal with the facial expressions. They're pretty hysterical.
I think she is the cutest. You've heard the expression, "They're so ugly, they're cute." She's so cute, she's cute, aren't you? I just love Daisy, and this has been such an honor to have her. I've been trying to get you for a while.
I know. Well, her busy schedule, and she does have a whole team of attorneys that we have to clear her appearances through. So.
Now, does she have her own social media account yet, or anything like that?
Well, she has an Instagram account, but she's kind of technology challenged. And I told her, I set up the account, you post the pictures, and she hasn't done it. So she basically works through my Facebook account, which is Susan Hobbs. And we try and post, 3-4 times a week, because again, she's got quite a following.
And you're really good at doing this.
Oh gosh, it's fun.
You need to,
it's
you need
fun.
to friend Susan Hobbs
Yep.
on Facebook and follow Daisy because it's adorable.
Andrew, will you read me a story? Oh yeah, let's watch Faith's Book Nook.
Grateful Rescue presents Faith's Book Nook. Watch dozens of storytelling videos right now at gratefulrescue.org.
When we arrived on the scene, I would run towards the fire, barking at the men to hurry up with their hoses of water.
I can watch it as a bedtime story. Or anytime I want to learn about animals.
Thank you for joining us tonight for tonight's book reading, and thank you for supporting Grateful Rescue.
I'll lend you my daddy. I'm sure you'll agree. Now that he's home, he belongs just to me.
Celebrities and pet lovers of all ages read their favorite books about animals.
This is First Dog Henry Holcomb, and we have a story for you. Apparently it smells good.
Storytime is anytime at Faith's Book Nook.
Watch Book Nook anytime on your laptop, tablet, or smartphone. Faith's Book Nook right now at gratefulrescue.org.
Here at Grateful Rescue in Muncie, Indiana,
we would like to wish you a Merry Christmas
and happy holidays. Now, let's take a look at how the dream of Grateful Rescue began. The dream of Grateful Rescue began the day I walked into the overcrowded, understaffed, and high-stress shelter to adopt a dog. A dog, one dog. A white Dalmatian lab mix they called Big Boy. But when I walked in, I couldn't believe what I saw. Dogs crated everywhere, in the hallways, in the laundry rooms, in the storage rooms, stacked on top of each other. The stench, the stress, the despair, it was all too much. As I passed each dog, they would sit pretty and straight, wagging their tails. But when I would walk on, they would erupt in fierce barking. It was as if they were screaming, "Please help me." It was heartbreaking. I had to get out of there. I couldn't bear it. But as I was leaving, I saw him, cowering in his cage, shaking and terrified. A small coonhound with droopy ears and the saddest eyes I'd ever seen. He wasn't making a peep, just trembling. My heart was breaking. I left the shelter with Big Boy, but I couldn't get that terrified little coonhound off my mind. I cried for him and all the others that night. I went back the next day and I adopted that little coonhound. I named him Samson because I wanted him to be strong. But that wasn't enough. What about all the others? There must be a better way, a less stressful way to keep these homeless animals. We began setting up a living space for dogs on our 22-acre property. We sectioned off different yards for group play, added a climate-controlled home with no cages, rooms, not cages. Then we began pulling dogs from shelters. In the fall of 2019, we purchased an additional 38 acres and made plans to house over 1,000 animals, dogs, cats, and critters. We will make a difference in the way animals are kept, a place where the homeless can enjoy their lives as best they can while they wait for their forever families. No more shaking, no more fear. We are grateful.
Grateful Rescue TV. I am KJ, your kitty correspondent, and I am here today with kitties and Dawn with Indie Neighborhood Cats.
Hi, KJ.
Hi. So first off, we've got a lot of partners we're talking about today with Indie Neighborhood Cats, and these kitties are actually ready for adoption with ARPO, correct?
That's correct. I don't know if you know this, but about 80% of the kittens that flood our shelters that people adopt are born outside, which is why Indie Neighborhood Cats exists.
Amazing. So these two kitties who are looking for a home together, Cordelia and Astra, were born outside, and winter is coming. It is getting very cold, and to think 80% of kittens born outside could be facing this winter. We wanted to talk about what you can do to help the community cats. Obviously, spay and neuter so that we don't have as many, but the ones that we do have, what are some tips for someone at home who would like to get involved and make sure that our cats this winter are warm and safe?
Sure. So when people find cats out in their community that are living outside, you can go on our website and find a really great survival guide. Cats are born to be outside. We brought them in and found that they were really great pets, but what they can do is they can get something like a styrofoam cooler. They can even get 2 heavy cardboard boxes that nest into each other using straw as insulation, really heavy garbage bags and duct tape. Anything that keeps the cats dry and warm and stuffed with straw, which we always say is straws for strays.
That is so important, right? Because people think, you know, blankets keep us nice and warm, but blankets are not a good idea to put outside.
They're not, because cats will have snow on them. When it's snowy, they'll go into those boxes, and with their body heat, it'll start to melt, but eventually it could freeze over and cause them hypothermia.
So we can keep them warm. We also want to talk about keeping them fed, and there's some important tips if you're going to be setting food outside for cats.
Absolutely. So just like shelters, you want to have something like a tote that's over on its side that you can put the food and water in to keep it safe from the wind, because the wind is what's going to cause the chill and cause that water to freeze over. So you want a really deep, dark dish for the water to keep filled with fresh water. You can even add a little bit of table sugar. That'll help, it'll help increase the time that the water stays fresh.
Oh, okay.
Some people put ping pong balls on the water bowl to keep it moving.
Oh my gosh, these are all such easy tips, and they're things that you can do very affordable and even just have around your house.
Yep.
The great thing about Indie Neighborhood Cats, they are in the field every day and they work with different organizations. So when you do find kittens that need to be brought inside, like these two did.
That's right.
They're out in the field making sure that these kind of kittens get homes and that the cats that need to be outside stay outside. You gave a lot of great tips today, and you also have an entire guide to winter survival for cats on your website.
Absolutely. So indieneighborhoodcats.org. Look right on the site for the winter survival guide. It's got lots of great tips
to find out more. And that'll do it for Grateful Rescue TV. Thank you so much, George. And thank you so much, Spots, for
Let's go to
joining us.
gratefulrescue.org if you want more info.
As we leave you today, here's a very special book nook reading from Santa Claus himself. We wish everyone a happy holiday.
Ho, ho, ho. Santa's going to read a book tonight called Santa's Dog, written by Joanne Skye and illustrated by Ed Kohler. This book is dedicated to Samson, the original Santa's dog. Find a shelter dogs everywhere waiting for their forever homes. The North Pole has a secret. Of wags and licks and barks, Santa has hundreds of dogs that live in one big park. The dogs and reindeer play their games. Some days they race on sleds. Though Santa loved them all the same, one dog slept on his bed. Lance held a very special place in Santa's big, kind heart. The pair had been forever friends and never were apart. Each Christmas Eve, Lance rode the sleigh. "I love my job," he said. One year the winds were way too fierce. Lance fell, paws overhead. He tumbled down a mountainside and landed far away. The town's dog shelter took him in. He had a place to stay. When Santa saw that Lance was safe, he chose to carry on. The night was short, his list so long, he circled back at dawn. When all was done, he went for Lance. The pickup went astray. The shelter doors were all locked up, for it was Christmas Day. He could go in, but that's not right, 'cause Santa gives, not takes. He knew that Lance would understand. It still made his heart ache. Next early morn, a family came to find a special friend. The family soon would need someone on whom they could depend. Their dad was headed far away, a soldier, strong and true. It was a fact, Dad's bags were packed. What would the family do? The soldier looked at Lance and knew this dog would be the one to keep his family safe and sound until his job was done. Lance went along to his new home, worked hard with his new crew. He thought of Santa now and then, and that's all that he could do. Lance fetched the ball for little John while Dad was far away. He acted guard for Mom each night when noises caused dismay. And late at night, when all was calm, he'd check on Sister Shay. Then climb beside her on the bed and chase bad dreams away. The months sped by, the seasons too. Lance kept the family strong. They played, they laughed. Each day that passed, it seemed like Lance belonged. Next Christmas Eve, Lance packed his things and listened for the sleigh. To his surprise, tears filled his eyes. He blinked them all away. When Santa came, Lance jumped for joy, then said to his dear friend, "I'm packed to go, but I don't know if this should be the end." And Santa said, "I saw you here in this fine home with family full of love. Their pain was real, their need was clear. I watched you from above. You've made me proud these last 12 months, helped family fill a hole. But now it's time to stay or go. Look deep within your soul." Lance thought of all the fun he had with Rudolph and the others, but this year held some goodness with the children and their mother. The walls and shelves were covered full of photos through the year. Lance with the boy, the girl, the mom. They loved him, it was clear. Then Santa spoke, "I know you, boy. You want to do what's right. A soldier's job is never done. This won't be Dad's last fight. One day real soon, when Dad comes home from his duties overseas, he still may need some help, you see. Our freedom isn't free. I'd miss you every single day and say a prayer for you, but you've become this family's glue, dear friend, so strong and true." Lance looked up to the fireplace, 5 stockings in a row. He saw his name, he heard Mom claim, "He's one of us, you know." Lance took a breath, then stood up tall. He knew what he must do. Unpack his dish, his toy, his mat, and tell his friend adieu. Please say goodbye to Mrs. Claus, to Tinsel and the rest. I love you all, but here I'll stay, and I will give my best. I'll wait for you each Christmas Eve beneath the lighted tree. But now I know my place is here with my new family. So Santa gave the greatest gift, his dog. Perhaps it's true that shelter dogs, just like Lance, a special gift to you. The end.